Good evening. My name is Don Fletter, and I am the Northern District Supervisor for the Office of Mines and Minerals Land Reclamation Division, and we are a part of the Department of Natural Resources. And I've been appointed hearing officer for tonight's hearing.
We're very open and happy to take all your comments this evening. We'll try to answer all questions that relate to renewal or any other questions that we can answer. You know, if it's about the 399 original permit, that's already being contested in court. So we're not going to be discussing those issues because there's already a venue and an avenue for that to be addressed. Same thing for 399 revision 1, which was the impounding structure to go up. We won't be discussing those because those are already in an administrative review process. And for 424, which is the new impoundment, we won't probably answer too many of those because we've already had public hearings on those. We're in the review of their technical materials that they presented to us.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. So just to be sure I understand correctly, then even though this mine is continuing for 5 more years, IDNR will not continue to look at the cumulative impacts of the increased production, increased shipping, increased just activities and coal from this mine. Is that correct?
None of those criteria have changed from the original permit application. All those materials and all those production numbers were evaluated when the original application was evaluated and approved.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. I appreciate hearing that, Mr. Fowler, so I just can't understand, and pardon me because I'm not a technician, how your agency can be said to be looking at the impacts when you leave out a very large corner of the permit and it is not going to be reviewed. It's clearly not included in the area that you will review. So I just think it's impossible for us as the public to understand how these sites can ensure the protection of the communities, the health of the people, when we have concerns like Shea 1 that is polluting an area stream and groundwater, and we are fearful for this mine because of the conditions known to be in the area. I mean, what will happen in the long term if the groundwater around Hillsboro gets contaminated from this mine? And I'm not being rhetorical. I would like IDNR to answer. What would happen in the long term if the groundwater around Hillsboro gets contaminated from this mine?
The mine is responsible for any contamination or any things that go wrong outside. We have a bond in place that they are legally responsible for any contamination that potentially could occur. They have put in liners, which are some of the best technical practices available in out there. If you know, that is state of the art. Sometimes they do leak.
Is there any room for error at all that you might look back on and say, wait a minute, we need to take another look at this? Is that not part of the purview of the IDNR to check these things out? That's
yes, we have the ability to make adjustments if we think that we're.
But you actually said to begin with you weren't even going to consider it, as I understood you to your initial statements.
I don't know. I said
that was all water under the bridge. We're not going to bring this up. So that to me meant that you're not going to even take another look at it.
No, I said we have other avenues that are out there to evaluate the original permit issuance. The revision for 399, revision 1 for 399, those avenues are already moving in that direction. We're not going to re-litigate or look at issues that have another venue for that to be taken care of.
It's not been litigated. I was part of the original administrative review request, and it's been, by our testimony tonight, 5 years. And that has yet to come to pass. As a matter of fact, the last time that there was a hearing, after all the shenanigans, is the only thing I can point out to is the IDNR, their administrative hearing officers, we were denied a day in court, so to speak.
All right. Well, I'm a landowner in the Shadow area. I'm still the same as in the original permit, concerned about the restoring my subsided land to this pre-productive state. And I'd like to know who's responsible at the IDNR that oversees returning this land that's been subsided.
Well, we have evaluations to determine what land uses they're being brought back to. If they're being brought back to prime farmland, there are criteria, statistical criteria that it, no. Well, sorry, I gave you surface mining regulations. They have to be brought back to a farmable state. If they're the farmland beforehand, they brought back to farmland afterwards. They're able to be able
good or better than it was before?
To be able to be farmed.
Illinois is now experiencing what I call the West Virginia syndrome. The production of coal with the coal operator shielded from its responsibility to the community. I think I'll repeat that. West Virginia syndrome means the production of coal with the coal operator shielded from its responsibility to the community. In Illinois, the government officials and regulatory agencies, similar to West Virginia, are beholden to coal. They can see the damage the coal has done to West Virginia citizens, but our officials seem immune to the reality. Chris Klein, owner of Deer Run, has established himself in West Virginia and identifies with Don Blankenship of Massey Energy as a talented coal leader. So far, the policies in Illinois have followed the same favoritism to coal as in West Virginia. Before we have any more irreversible damages, please start enforcing mining laws with the protection of citizens in mind to prevent a repeat of the environmental disasters in Illinois that have already occurred in West Virginia.
As I've listened to the testimony and discussion today, I've got just one statement that basically sums it all up. We are failing.
I'm a mother of 12 children, grandchildren 33, and I have 3 children and their families and my grandchildren here in town and a daughter that works at the hospital. And my concern is that I see things happening that's just not right. And like Larry, my heart goes out to him. You own that land, you work it and everything, and then things come and you have no control over it. It's not right. It's just not right. And there's things going on here that is not right.